Okay, you know the drill. You're logging into an account, maybe trying to buy concert tickets, and then, bam, you hit a wall. A tiny little box that basically questions your very existence. Well, today, we're going deep on one of the most common, yet totally overlooked experiences on the entire internet.
We've all seen this phrase, right? It's like a digital speed bump. You know, a momentary annoyance we just click past without a second thought. But what if I told you that this simple request is the tip of a massive iceberg? It's a clue that there's a huge, invisible conflict happening right behind your screen.
I mean, seriously, why does a website need you to prove you're not a machine? The answer? Well, it pulls back the curtain on the hidden architecture of the web, and honestly, it sends us on a bit of a digital detective story. This is a story about a war for the soul of the internet itself.
So, from now on, think of that little checkbox not as a roadblock, but as a gatekeeper. It's standing guard, protecting some really valuable digital real estate from an enemy you can't even see. And to understand the guard, you've got to first understand who they're trying to keep out.
Okay, let's get into it. The whole reason you have to prove you're human, it can be summed up in just one word: bots. These are automated programs, and they're designed to just roam the internet and perform tasks at a speed and scale that, let's be real, no human could ever match.
And the scale we're talking about is absolutely staggering. Get this. According to industry reports, nearly half, we're talking almost 47% of all internet traffic isn't human. Just let that sink in for a second. At any given moment, about half the users on the web are actually automated programs, just crawling, scraping, and clicking away.
And that creates this constant high-stakes battle. On one side, you've got the websites trying to serve real people like you and me, and on the other, you've got these bots trying to buy up all the tickets, post spam comments, steal user data, or even crash entire servers. That little checkbox? That's the front line of the war. But, it's really important to say that not all bots are the villains here. Good bots are actually essential to how the internet works. Think about Google's bots, right? They crawl the web to index pages for search. The problem is the bad bots, the ones built for spamming, for scalping, and for fraud. So the gatekeeper's job is to tell the difference between you, a good bot, and a bad one. Tricky stuff. This whole battle has led to this incredible technological arms race. As the bots got smarter, well, the tests had to get smarter too. And this is where human ingenuity really shines, creating this whole series of clever puzzles designed to outsmart the machines.
And it has an official name: CAPTCHA. Yeah, it's an acronym that perfectly describes its job. It stands for a completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. It's basically a mini Turing test, trying to find a simple way to separate us from the computers. It's a beautifully nerdy name for a piece of tech we see almost every day.
Now this shows you how the battle has really played out over time. Back in the early 2000s, it was all about those squiggly, distorted letters and numbers, right? Easy for us, but super tricky for early computers. But then, as computers got better at reading, the bots caught up. So, by the mid-2010s, the test shifted to recognizing images. We've all had to click on all the traffic lights. But guess what? As computer vision got better, even that started to fail, forcing the test to evolve all over again.
Which brings us to today. The most advanced tests are often completely invisible. They don't even ask you to solve a puzzle. Instead, they just analyze your behavior. The way you move your mouse onto that checkbox. Is it a perfectly straight line like a robot, or does it have that subtle, imperfect curve of a human hand? How fast do you click? These little behavioral quirks are, at least for now, uniquely human.
So you see, no matter how complex the test gets, whether it's distorted text or analyzing your mouse wiggles, the core principle has always been the same. Find a uniquely human quirk, something a logical, perfectly efficient machine just can't fake. But this whole thing leads to a really fascinating and maybe a little unsettling question. What happens when the computers get so good at imitating us that there are no simple tasks left to tell us apart? What does the future of this fight even look like?
And this, right here, is the modern dilemma. The entire arms race has shifted. For years, the focus was just on making the puzzles harder. But with the absolute explosion of artificial intelligence, AI can now solve complex, visual puzzles and even mimic human behavior with terrifying accuracy. The old playbook, it's basically obsolete.
This table really lays out the tough choices developers are facing now. You can see that methods like device fingerprinting or biometrics, yeah, they offer super high security, but they bring up some major privacy concerns. Then on the other hand, those classic image puzzles are way better for privacy, but they offer lower security and, let's be honest, they can be super frustrating for us actual users. It's this constant balancing act between security, privacy, and just making things work smoothly for real people.
So why does any of this matter? Well, because this invisible war affects you every single day. It's what protects your online accounts from being hijacked by bots. It's what ensures you have a fair shot at buying a ticket before a scalper bot snaps them all up. But it also shapes your entire online experience, forcing you into these little verification dances and raising some pretty big questions about how much of our behavior is being tracked just to prove we're real.
Which leaves us with a final, kind of provocative thought. For decades, we have relied on what machines can't do to prove our humanity online. But as that gap closes, as AI becomes a better and better mimic, how will we prove we are who we say we are in a world where just being human is no longer a foolproof defense?